In today's episode, I'll be going through my review, reaction, and recap to the 7th episode of Star Wars The Acolyte, titled Choice. So let's jump right into Choice. Do something, man! People are questioning you! Shut up. Shut up. Okay, yep, do that. Sure, guys. Stupid and dumb. Just an idiot. Get your shit together, son. Fuck it. I loved it. Welcome to the Dub Cast. Coming off of last week, I thought it was a little bit of a recovery for me. I personally didn't like episode 5, although it seems like the community kind of turned around on episode 5. Everyone out there liked it. Obviously, the first 4 episodes were not well appreciated. Last week, I was intrigued to see how they wrapped this up, but 2 episodes ago, I'm like, oh, you got a lot of ground delay in this episode. We got to see this background story. It's got to be something crazy about Soul and what he's done. But this episode was garbage. I'll keep it a buck. Literally, I think half the scenes in the episode we already saw throughout the whole series. So this was just like on Survivor when they used to do that episode before the finale of just like everything that happened. Like we already saw this, so we don't need to see this. So yeah, I mean the whole episode is focusing around the Jedi and their perspective on basically what happens in episode 1 and 2 of the series. Just thought most of it was pretty much filler and scenes that we already saw, and the scenes that we did see that were new didn't really do a ton. There's some decent stuff in there, but yeah, this was one of the longer episodes of the season at 44 minutes. I don't think this podcast will be as long as that because there's nothing to really talk about. That being said, let's jump into the episode. So we're with our boys, Torpin, Sol, Kalnaka, and Indara, a girl. Sorry, I don't want to, Anyways, so their whole reason why they're on Brendok is they're looking for a vergence in the Force, and I kind of wasn't really paying attention at this point, so I can't expound upon this virgin in the Force, but my understanding of it is basically like a Force point that's so powerful that you can create Force babies with it. I mean, that's basically what the witches fucking did, so there's that. So we learn a little bit about Brendok. It was deemed lifeless after a hyperspace disaster 100 years ago, which what does a hyperspace disaster consist of? I don't like to learn a little bit more about that history there. Star Wars Wiki maybe, I don't know, but a hyperspace disaster, I don't know what that constitutes of, but regardless, that's our explanation. So that's why they have deemed the planet lifeless as per 100 years ago. Essentially, they are all just chilling on the planet. It's like Indara, the crew I mentioned before. Torpin really wants to leave. They've been there for 7 weeks, I think they said. Torpin really wants to go home. He's like, enough of this shit. We're just doing nothing. And he's right. I mean, they're just like picking up grass and rocks and shit. But I like those little machines they had. I want to do that job. Pay me like $20 an hour to go up and pick up rocks and shit and feed them into the machine. I'll do that. Sounds like a good job. Anyways, they're going to be alerted to some sort of Force signal or life, and this is probably the worst CGI I've seen in a while. Soul just zooming in on his zoomer, whatever you call those things, and dude, like you can clearly tell this is green screened as fuck. Like people out there, go back and watch this scene. This shit was horrible. I know you guys don't even probably fucking watch this show, but damn, that CGI was horrible, bro. You had that high of a budget, you can't edit like a 2-second scene. Goddamn, put me on that shit. Just pay me $60 an hour, be done. Pay me $30, be done in half an hour, bro. I don't even know how to fucking do CGI shit. Anyways, yeah. So that was already put a bad taste in my mouth. And then, honestly, I'm gonna be 100% here, and I'm not trying to be like cancel culture warrior or whatever, but bro, Soul stalking the girls was weird to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's some sort of emotional connection, Jedi shit that I'm over, whatever. But bro, like a couple times in this episode, at least 2 or 3 times, I was like, why is he so invested in this? And he's like, later on, he's like, I have a feeling that Osha is gonna be my Padawan, and it's like, what are you like projecting this? Like maybe it's like a father figure thing. Maybe he like had abandonment issues. I don't know, but man, I kind of soured on Soul this episode. He was kind of a creep. keeping it a buck, like he's just stalking them for like the first like 15 minutes of the episode. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, so once they realize that the witches are there with the girls, Indara wants to go in alone. Honestly, a pretty strong Indara episode. Didn't think we'd be seeing much from her after she died in the first episode, but here she is back again. Apparently, the actress who plays her is pretty famous. I don't know her work that well. Probably if I looked her up, I could recognize her from a couple things. But as of right now, not really familiar. I think it's like Carrie Ann Moss, something like that. So for those of you film geeks, TV geeks out there, I'm sure you can let me know where she's from and what she plays. She wants to go in alone, and I don't know. I kind of wrote this down as like a possible moment of when things switched, but I don't think this would have mattered if she went in alone. Maybe because she's more level-headed than Sol, and Torpin got his mind controlled and shit. But I don't know, man. Not sure if that would have changed much, but respect for Indara trying to be the fucking reasonable one here. So we rehashed the scene of them showing up to the coven/cave/elevator shaft that they live in, and we get the first person perspective of the witchcraft they used on Torpin. My question first was, why is bro crying? Like, she just asked him like 3 questions. She's like, you want to go home, right? He's like, yeah. And she's like, you should ask to go home. And he just starts bawling. Like, you see a tear on his face. Like, bro, you're a Jedi. Let's fortify that mind a bit. Don't fucking cry after 2 questions. And then she's like, just kneel. And so he kneels, and he's locked in. That's where we see him from episode 1 when he's locked into the spell. Yeah, bro's down bad. Witch shit. I fuck with it. It's probably some sort of explanation behind this. Padawan's weaker mind. Mother Towson. So yeah, I'm with it. I'm not having any problems with this. So thought this was actually a pretty decent scene for the witches and shit. Anyways, yeah, at this point I was like, why are we just redoing these scenes? This is like a fucking preview before the finale, basically. I don't know, man. It's like, what are we doing here? But we see Indara potentially helping Osha on the test that she took. We see Maeve just fail it even more, which I don't know why we need to see that. And then we see that Sol and Indara actually schemed to make sure that Osha passed the test. So good for them, they got their wish. It seemed like Indara was doing a little wink nod thing to help, so she was in on it too. Maybe I'm interpreting that wrong, but there was a little 2 seconds flash to her face. It seemed like she wanted to do it. So moving down this scale of Sol just getting creepier and creepier throughout the episode. He's still very invested. He's like, we need to make sure she's a Jedi, and she's too old to start the Order, which I didn't even realize. I don't know how old they are, but doesn't seem that old that she wouldn't be able to start the Order. But Indara's like, we shouldn't do this. The Jedi Council doesn't want to do this. They want us to leave her here, and God forbid somebody goes against the Jedi Council, but obviously they're going to. And so, yeah, they're going to do their little thing where they go back. Actually, I lied. So Torpin is going to get the blood results on his little iPad, and he's like, they're exact symbiotes. They were created through a splitting of one presence, and they're like, what the fuck, which is the same reaction that the Star Wars fandom had. But Torpin's reaction is, hey, we need to get that version to get off this planet. I'm out. So he just dips. I thought maybe he got like demonized for a second. I don't, like, maybe the witches were in his head again, because bro's a pretty calm character, but a Padawan back like 100 years ago, even before, it was probably more strict, and you're just going to take off with 3 other Jedi there. Like, that doesn't seem like something that would fly in the old Jedi regime, in the asylum you grew up in. Anyways, Sol goes with him. So they are out to go get them and they have to scale the wall again, which Sol already did when he was stalking them for the first time. Kelnaka and Indara are in the ship, trying to chase them down, prevent conflict. I guess this gives a little background to why the girls were created through the Force, and maybe this will satisfy some of the Star Wars people out there. I doubt it will. It'll probably just create even more problems. I guess we'll see on Twitter tomorrow. Shout out to Star Wars Theory. He'll probably be pissed about this, but we'll see. Anyways, I want to give a special bad shout out to Coral. You're a bitch, lady, and fuck you. She's terrible this episode. We see her just going against the mother's wishes, the mother witch, which I'm not bothered to really know the Mother Witch's name. I'm just gonna keep calling her Mother Witch. So sorry. But she's like incentivizing May to start the fire, to get angry, to channel her rage and channel her dark side, and this is what started it. What it's like when you have a crying kid, you don't tell them, yeah, be mad, get angry, be mad. So terrible fucking parenting by Coral. This bitch is fucking. She's like so. Oh, she's a terrible influence on the kids, and I'm Team Mother Witch. I don't think she did much wrong in anything, and she wanted the best for Osha. She was gonna let Osha go. She said that. But Coral's like, no, we need to keep her here and keep her with our coven for 15 million years, and we can let her rule the coven and blah, 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 and I'm going to make this woman angry. And lady, get a grip, okay? No one wants to live in your little coven on this bullshit planet where nobody even lives for like the next 3,000 years. Let the girl go be a Jedi. Chase a dream. Huh? Anyways, so yeah, I just wanted to say boo to Coral. Anyways, we get to the confrontation, which is Sol and Torpin pulling up to the Jedi, which we didn't see originally because we only had Osha's perspective. May's involved here, where they just tell her to run away, but basically there's a kind of a misunderstanding. The mother decides to go black magic mode and turn into black magic, which Sol just immediately stabs her. Smart move, 1,000 IQ. She just instantly dies. Seemed like a little like a little bit of pre-fire there, where she's just shooting from the hip right away. Like, you guys could have maybe talked this out for like 2 more minutes, but no, she's like, I'm the only reasonable one here, so I have to do something completely unreasonable and just attack Sol. Maybe mother protection, so I'll give it to her. I'll give the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, that's how she dies. She gets stabbed through Sol. And then Sol's like, hold up a minute. Coral, of course, fucking goes after her. While this is happening, we get the May's perspective of the May Osha fire, where she just picks up a lantern off the shelf and is like, what should I do with this? And then drops it and then starts a fire. And it's like, oh my god, like, but I'll give it to her. She's probably like 9 or 10, so, you know, I'm not going to say a kid's dumb, but like, kids play with fire all the time. Things happen. So, I don't know. Maybe don't listen to bad mother. Listen to the good mother witch. This is derailing quickly. Anyways, yeah, I guess she didn't mean to start the fire, so maybe she's not that evil. She didn't want to kill Osha. This is probably like a little May redemption arc, although she did kill 3 Jedi. But anyways, so yeah, that dark magic shit, I don't know if that's something that Mother Talzin did. I'm trying to rehash this in my memory, but I don't know. It seems like some kind of demonic witch thing. I was cool with it, especially since Sol just stabbed her instantly. Oh, maybe she was actually going for Torpin again. I don't know. Because we see later on that Coral is actually going to take over Kalnaka, which is crazy considering that when they took over Torpin, he just sat there and kneeled and was like disarmed and like unable to move. And then they just took over Kalnaka, this huge fucking Wookiee, and he fights for them and goes against his lifelong allies and Jedi and everything he knows and loves. So, sure. I don't know. It does give us a pretty good scene though, where we got all the witches like vocalizing. I love the ET witch in the middle, the old one who's like they're all swaying back and forth, trying to control Kalnaka to fight and take out Sol and Torpin. Honestly, thought this was probably the best fight in my opinion, at least the most memorable of this fight scene between Sol, Kalnaka, and Torpin. Kalnaka goes beast mode. It's good to see him actually do something in this series, considering he's dead in present time. But on these flashbacks, seeing him fighting against the Jedi was cool. It was like a little Anakin when he turned evil, when the sun made him turn evil in Clone Wars. Not going to say the season to embarrass myself, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Just a cool scene there where they're not trying to kill him, but they got to calm him down. Eventually, Indara pulls up on him once Sol and Torpin and him are kind of locked in this like 3, like, Kalnaka's got Torpin's head, that's why he's got the scars. He's got his claw on his face, but Sol's trying to choke him out, and then Indara pulls up, boop, Force kills the witches somehow. I don't know if she like killed them through time and space, or she just took over his mind, so they died because they're using all their powers, but that's how they all die. That's how they're all sitting in that circle when they die, when we see them later. So props to Indara. being a boss again, and this was really her episode. She put a stamp on this shit for sure. So they have to decide once they grab Osha after we see May fall to the fire, what happens when she wakes up. Do they tell her the truth? Indara wants to tell her the truth and just say, listen, whatever, but Osha's like, we to keep this lie going. She only has one opportunity in this life to be a Jedi and to be happy. And so they end up lying to her, and that's where we leave off this episode. And I was like, really? No present scene or anything? We're just going through this past timeline. So as I mentioned before, thought this episode was not great, and the definition of a filler. Honestly, this might be the weakest episode. I'd have to rehash the other early episodes, but definitely not my favorite episode. Definitely probably bottom 3 for me. I thought it didn't really progress the story along at all. I thought the twist was going to be bigger than it was. And I thought that a lot of scenes that we were shown already were played out in this episode again, so there wasn't really a point to this episode besides like a couple small minor things that were cool / like interesting to learn. So with that being said, what did you guys think of this episode? Saw TV time reviews weren't great, but that app doesn't really indicate the general public. I'm sure I'll see the vitriol on Twitter tomorrow. One last note on the episode, the little end credit, the power of two, the power of many, or whatever the fuck the song's called. It's kind of a banger. I left the credit song on for a couple minutes, and actually not a bad tune, so may add that to the playlist. So with that being said, I'll jump into my favorite and least favorite, and if you actually listen to this whole podcast, you know exactly who I'm going to say. So favorite character this episode is Indara, basically the only reasonable one in this, and just being a boss. I'm usually a Soul guy, but Soul was being creepy and being way too like persistent in the wrong way, so I'm going with Indara, favorite character. Carrie-Anne Moss, legend, we love you. Least favorite, Mother Coral, turning May against Osha and just being a bitch overall. I'm sorry, didn't like your performance. That means good acting, because I fucking hate your character and she was shitty this episode. So that'll wrap Star Wars The Acolyte Season 1 Episode 7. Kind of mid on this finale. I don't really know where we wrap this all up in one episode, but I'm here for the ride, as I said before, and we'll finish this thing out. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought of this episode. What do you think of this review? Do you agree with my opinions? Do you disagree? Yeah, so talking about the next couple podcasts in the future. Been kind of lacking lately, only doing the live show watches and reviews. It's been a little busy summer just because I'm doing something on the side right now, but that should be over quickly. And then once that's done, you can expect the usual movie reviews. Still going to do Succession Season 2. I'm like halfway done with that. And then still have that guest lined up for NBA off-season. That'll be a fun one. I'll have more details on that at a later date, or it'll just come out and you guys will be able to watch it. So as always, keep it easy, and I'll see you back next week for the finale.